Hello, looks like we're live, so let's get started. Let's see, this is an unplanned stream, so we're just gonna go with the flow and see what happens. I guess I do have a plan for today, but I didn't plan to stream, whatever. Get the idea. Anyway, today is November 20th of 2019, and the plan for today is to work on packaging Python 3.9, which was recently, that's PyTest, not Python, which was recently tagged, I think, yesterday? Not really sure, but, 2 days ago now, whatever. I guess not quite 2 days ago, like a day and a half ago. But the plan is to start building packages for this and get it on deadsnakes, and then be able to set up nightlies for this and all the other fun stuff that comes along with that. But the first step of this is going to be packaging it. Before we start working on that, though, let's go over what I've done since Saturday. I guess we can let's first talk about what I did Saturday. So we did two things. The first was we started working on GitHub Actions for pre-commit, and we did that in a different account because I thought I was going to deal with permissions and stuff. We mostly got it working, but after I finished streaming, I realized that like one of the assumptions that I was making throughout the entire time of building this action. Oh, I forgot to set my tags. Stupid Twitch. Every freaking time I forget to do this. I reminded myself somehow this time, though. Updated tags. There, now people will know that I'm streaming programming, so hopefully I'm in the right category. But yeah, I got this mostly working last time, but unfortunately an assumption that I was making the whole time is not quite true. And I didn't really think about this until after the fact, and honestly last time I worked on this, which was like a month or two ago, I think I came to exactly the same conclusion, but just forgot to think about it. The assumption that I was making was that I would be able to access, where is it? I would be able to access a secure token, a secure secret token to do both cloning and pushing. And then I thought about it some more, and if you expose a token to an action, then any of the code that runs that action also has access to that token. And so there's no secure way to expose it to a pull request, because a pull request could just like write some arbitrary code that pulls that token out of the environment, and then suddenly they have commit access to your repo, which is not great. So that plan won't really work, but I do plan to finish up this action and make it still at least work for the read-only case, and like get caching working properly and all the other niceties around that. But I won't be able to do the like pushback approach. I might make like a separate action that does pushback just for like some GitHub organizations only have internal members that commit to it and don't have outside contributors, so it would still be useful there. For instance, like that's how we kind of set up the Lyft GitHub organization, where we have our 1,000+ developers that all commit directly to private repos inside a GitHub org, and I guess I could set up GitHub Actions there where pre-commit would auto commit to branches. So that's an idea, but we'll work on that if I have enough time to work on it. But we basically got something working, and we ran one short test of this in this repository. Somebody has starred. Stargazers, all one. Be the first to start this repository. There's a bit of a glitch in the matrix here. Hey, what's up, CodeMonkeyJS? Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we got this like demoed and working on stream. Basically, wait, where's the closed PR? Wait a minute. I thought I had this working. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, so we got it to automatically commit back changes from pre-commit. It's going well with me. I'm going to be working on packaging Python 3.9 today. That's the plan. But before I get to that, I'm kind of going over what I did last time, which is almost done. The other thing that we worked on last time is another scroll function in my editor. Now you can use Control and the arrow keys, and it'll scroll by a single line at a time, which has some edge cases, like if you scroll down while the cursor's at the top, the cursor comes with it. Same if you scroll up. But also if you scroll to the very end of the file and then try and scroll up, or you go further down, you can't scroll past here. And if we go to line 1, you can't scroll further up from here. But we basically did some test-driven development and designed and built that feature. And also figured out like what keyboard shortcut it should use, and like what is the behavior from Vim and what is the behavior from VS Code, and like hacked on that. Very soon Babi will be greater than Vim. Yeah, it's true. Maybe, I don't know that it'll ever be greater than Vim, but it'll at least be better than Nano. But look, it is Vim, right? You can just :Q. It's Vim now. I made Vim, Mom. But yeah, that's what we worked on last time. I also did a couple of things offline. Not too much. One of them... Oh, this is a wild one. We'll get to that one in a second. Close all these tabs though. The first thing was we did this on stream, where I made a very small patch to this package. These ones I just added some tests to PyUpgrade. Is identical in the chat. I don't know if he's here today, but usually he's in the chat. Pointed out like, hey, why do you have this weird code? And I was like, huh, that's a good question. Why do I have that weird code? And I wrote a test that failed if I removed the weird code. Basically, in Unicode strings in Python 2, if you have this comment, it's a syntax error for dumb reasons. I still haven't fixed my squeaky chair, so it's still squeaky. I need to do that. Let me actually, I can probably just order on Amazon. Let's see, WD-40. Is that what I want? Is that how you fix squeaky chairs, WD-40? Here's the, like, prime multi-use product. Multi-purpose lubricant with easy reach flexible straw. Sure, that sounds like what I want. Buy now. Why is the button not working? There we go. Okay. I will hopefully fix my squeaky chair by the end of the week, because I have ordered WD-40. But anyway, there's this like weird syntax error, and this test was enough to regression test that. I also noticed that I didn't have the test in this other code formatter that I wrote that I copied and pasted the code back and forth from, so I wrote essentially the same test here. But this one is a crazy wild goose chase. So 9 days ago, this person opened an issue on pre-commit with this very, very strange error. CodeMonkey.js says, have you planned all Babi features in advance, or do you implement everything as it goes? I have some of them planned, and like I've written out some of the things that I know are going to be difficult in GitHub issues. But like sometimes it'll just be like, oh, that's a cool idea. I'm going to add that to my text editor. Like the scrolling thing was something that I was just like, you know, it'd be nice if I could just scroll one line at a time. And I know other editors had that feature, so I was just like, I'll just add this one kind of unplanned. But yeah, it's not, I don't know. I kind of just go as I go and like don't really think too much about it. But some of the stuff, it's like I know I need to do this, and I kind of know how I want to do it. Like, for instance, I need to handle tab characters, and I know I need to think about this. I might not be able to do this in Python 3.8, for instance. I know I need to handle emojis, because this is super broken right now. If you paste emojis, they're too wide, but the cursor's like here, even though if you type characters, yeah. So like it's pretty buggy. Yeah, you can see like how these are all misaligned and stuff. But I need to handle, basically these are 2 cells wide instead of, so you can see like these 2 characters are the same width as this one character, so I need to handle that. But I know that's broken. I'll need to fix that. I need to do syntax highlighting. That's gonna be the big thing. This one's gonna be a lot of work. But I kind of have a plan here. But again, I know this one's going to be a lot of work. I also need to split the files up at some point, because right now Babi's getting kind of chunky. It's oh, it just passed 1,000 lines. Bit of a chunky boy. But I need to, well, I don't need to, I kind of want to split this up into a couple files. I was resisting it for a while, thinking that maybe I could keep it under 1,000 and like keep it in a single script and just download the script and use it wherever, but I think for my own sanity and probably contributors' sanity, because people seem to want to commit to this for some reason, splitting it up is probably going to be a good idea. Keep everything in a monofile. Hey, what's up, Nowledge? I do have a lot of monofile projects. I really do like that. It definitely makes things like simpler, but people hate contributing to it, which I can see. Like, this file is 2,200 lines, and it's just kind of like a lot of code here, but it's at least chunked into parts that are related. Like, if you look at for the Py3 plus fixers, like these are all in this one chunk here. And if you look at the percent, yeah, so like this percent format stuff is all in one chunk. But yeah, there's some logical parts that I would want to split up. Like, it makes sense to take what is it called, the protocol, like this slice stuff would be nice to move to its own file, and this list spy thing, like, this is completely separate from the implementation of Babi. It just happens to be a nice little helper class that I've used in a couple places, but I do plan to split it up at some point. Monofiles have some benefits too. Yeah, the really cool thing about monofiles is you can just, like, say you wanted to use Babi, you can just find this file here and go to raw, not blame. You can just download this file, and then suddenly you can run Babi directly, which is kind of nice. Like, just download and run is pretty cool. And if I split it up, I wouldn't be able to do that, so it would kind of be a downside there. If nothing else, I'll probably split the tests. I did that with PyUpgrade, and it made the tests a lot easier to follow. And I think when the tests are easier to follow, it doesn't matter so much that the code is all over the place, or isn't all over the place. Like with PyUpgrade, like, these are, and there's a lot of things that PyUpgrade does, but each of these is like one specific type of behavior that PyUpgrade does. These are all the tests for the automatic rewriting of f strings. Like, these are the ones that don't do anything. These are the ones that actually get rewritten. Is there a Webpack-like tool for Python that could bundle Python code? Yes. So there's this thing called zipapp, and it's actually part of the standard library, which is pretty cool. If you just have, like, pure Python dependencies. Python-m zipapp myapp-m and create an executable archive from a directory containing Python code. When run, the archive will execute the main function from the module in the myapp archive. I don't know. I understood it at one point because I wrote one for virtualenv, which basically you can... We never finished doing it. There's the... in tasks? Yeah. Like, here's the code to set up a zip app, where basically you just get like a single file thing that you can run on it. Why don't I use zipapp? I don't know, haven't tried it yet. Beyond doing it in virtualenv. Not VM, this is virtualenv. But this is the virtualenv. This is this project here. There's my name. I definitely did this. But it's actually kind of cool. Like, you can git clone. How do you do this thing? Oh. Surely this is how it works, right? Yeah. Now you have this virtualenv.pyz. And just get rid of the source tree, and you can run this. I think you can run this. Maybe you have to do this. Maybe you have to do Python. Yeah. Yeah, you can just run this like zip file thing, and it works, and you end up with a working virtualenv. Which Python, which pip. Yeah, like it just kind of works. I need to learn to git clone remotes without copy and paste. So at least with GitHub, it's pretty easy. There's like 2 strings you have to memorize. It's either git at github.com : and this is the SSH URL, and then of course like user/project, and then there's HTTPS, which is this, and this is slashes. And those are the 2 that you kind of have to remember. There's also the Git protocol, and that one's also with slashes, I think, but I never use this one because HTTPS tends to be faster for whatever reason, and SSH is secure or whatever. But like, these are kind of the only 2 that you have to memorize. And it actually works the same with GitLab. They use the same construct. I don't know about Bitbucket. Bitbucket is weird. That one even I copy and paste, and I can never remember the mercurial command either. So, but anyway, I could use a zip app. I think that's eventually what I'm going to do. There's also ways to make executable zip apps. There's like -p interpreter. Add a shebang line to the archive. Yeah, so I just need this option to make that work as well. Which I probably should have done in virtualenv. I don't know why I didn't, but anyway. That's another option. Then I would be able to have a downloadable thing. The problem with that is I would need a build step to produce the archive, and then blah blah blah. It's so much work. It's moreover that I don't trust myself to type out those long strings. See, that's where I can help you also. I also don't trust myself to type long strings, so I have tab complete for these things, which is pretty cool. The way it works is I have this project called All Repos, which I'll paste the link in the chat if you want to check it out. The idea behind All Repos is you set up a config file which has like a source, and you can use the refactoring stuff, which allows you to do like distributed refactoring across code bases. But the cool thing is you just like set up this config, you put an API token in here, and then you can clone all of your repositories. So if you look in here, these are all the orgs that I have access to. And you can see like I've cloned all of my repositories here. And it provides some helpers. So like this is the bash completion for all repos clone. So it basically overrides git clone to complete from repositories using JQ. But it's pretty nifty. It's how this thing works. So you can see like these are the repositories I can clone. But it's kind of neat. And it's way more useful at work, because at work we have like 2,000 repositories, and like, God, I hate trying to figure out, oh, is this one python-lift-foo, or is it lift-python-foo, and I can just like tab complete and get it working. Goomback says, what language to least like using that comes up similarly? I'm sorry, what? What'd you say? What is my least favorite language that comes up regularly? Is that what you're asking? What do I... ESL. Oh, okay. What is my least favorite language that comes up a lot? Probably Bash. Yeah, probably Bash, if you consider that a programming language. I don't know, I like most of the languages that I work in. I used to do some amount of Ruby, which I really didn't like. my team just adopted Ruby app. Ah, you're right on time. Yeah, I'm not such a fan of Ruby. It's a little too magical for me. But anyway, back to this issue. Whack ass bug report, like weird error that I had never seen on Windows. I tried to reproduce it, couldn't reproduce it. They had a configuration file that looks completely fine, but they had this error message. It's in German, but I'm actually surprised that they got the English translation up here. But yeah, but I was like, what? I've never seen anything like this before. And they're on the latest version of pre-commit and a new enough version of Python, so everything should have worked fine. And then I started debugging, basically giving them commands to run and having them try and reproduce the output. So you can see, like, when I ran those commands here, this is what I got. So my min.gw get and this directory for my checkout. They ran it, they got basically the same output. So from this, it looks like Git is working fine. But when they ran pre-commit install, it complained again with that same error message. They also provided more of the log output, so I could see, like, yeah, it's definitely Windows. Yep, definitely Windows. Windows Python, so nothing surprising there. Then I tried digging into the pre-commit code, so I was like, well, this is what pre-commit's actually doing. There shouldn't be anything special here. Let's see what that produces for you. And, like, this is what it produced for me. When they ran it, they got this exit 0 empty string. Is the kind of the root of the bug, but didn't really give me any hint about why that was happening. But then I was like, oh, I wonder if it's the different get executable. Let's try that. So they were able to find this one. And when they ran that, they still got the empty string. And I was just like ripping my hair out, like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy's computer? Like, why can't I find it? Maybe you could try reinstalling. They reinstalled it, it didn't make any difference. But then they gave me this hint that I wish they would have said 6 days earlier. They were saying I was running it inside this path here. And that's where it was producing the empty result. And it was at that point that I realized Git does some weird stuff. So this is the command that pre-commit was using to find the top of the repository with git rev parse show top level. And interestingly enough, so if you cd outside of a Git repository and run that command, it errors, it produces an error message, and you get a non-zero code, which is great. That's exactly what I expect. But if you cd inside the .git directory, this is where it produces no output and exits 0. And it took 6 days to figure that out, basically. But once I figured it out, I was able to just, like, add an extra error message to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. And that was the other thing I did this week. What else? Minor cleanup in PyTest. I added Azure pipelines to my Twitch chatbot so that when you guys commit, it'll actually run the linters. And I fixed up a changelog thing. Isn't Ruby dying? Why would you adopt it? I don't think Ruby's dying, so to speak. Like, it's still decent language. Do you prefer Born Shell more? No, I don't. True. Didn't someone say that about COBOL? You can make so much money for COBOL, for working on COBOL. But yeah, definitely a weird, in my opinion, bug in Git. So I reported this to the Git mailing list, and they're sifting through whether they want to fix this or not. Let's see, Git mailing list. Where's the archive that I usually click on? They have changed it. This is the one that I usually use, right? What? Oh, this is only one page of things. Here we go. Okay, so I made, this is part of the thread, but they made like a test that would make this an actual error. But yeah, they're not sure whether that patch will make it in or not. But Well, I did my part. I reported the bug. We adopted the app because the other team restructured and it fell on our side of the fence. Corporate BS. Notices the search box at the top right. Oh, did I do it dumb? I did. Yeah. Search my name. Yeah, here we go. What is this, and why am I mentioned here? Oh, I'm an idiot. I remember that. Windows does some real dumb things in some cases. But yeah, most of these are me reporting or fixing bugs in Git. This is my oldest post. Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird bug. That was a weird bug. But anyway, let's try and package Python 3.9. So usually what I do is steal Debian's packaging and then fix it. But I don't know if Debian has a package yet. They do not. So we're gonna have to do something a little bit different. And I know I did it for this package. We're gonna build a package based on one of the other packages that I've made. Yeah, so I basically... How did I do this before? I didn't think I knew anyone who contributed to Git. I have a few commits on Git. Let me see if I can figure out how to show them. Contributors... This is pre-commit. I'm just going to change the URL once I figure out how to do this. Commits. I can go to git/git. I think I have like 2 or 3 commits. Yeah. I fixed some grammar. I added an S here. Super awesome commit here. Documentation update. Woo. This one I actually wrote code. I changed the return code of git grep-L. And this one I fixed a regression which caused Git to spew some output on Windows. But those are my contributions to Git. I also have a contribution to grep, which is what this patch is based on. Basically, I made the same patch to grep, and they were like, "Yeah, awesome, let's do it." It made exit codes more consistent with how dash little l works. But anyway, yeah, I've contributed some tiny things to Git. nothing too impressive. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do here is import the Python 3.9 alpha and then grab the Debian directory from 3.8, which will basically just be copy. And then I think I have a commit here that this is where I updated it at 3.10. So I'll just do the same thing, except instead of 3.10, it'll be 3.9. So I'll replace a lot of 8s with a lot of 9s. I won't need to make a patch though, which will be good. And this is all just the patch. Oh, this I needed to change to 2. But yeah, I think that's how I'm gonna approach this. So let's see. Git init Python 3.9. Here we go. Hey, what's up, Dang Whisper 007? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. I think I have a runbook that I wrote for this before, because I don't do this. I do this like once a year. So maybe run books. Maybe Past Me can help me out here. Tell me what to do. See, this is the updating patches, which is how I go from one version to another, which is not what we want. We want this one. Find a suitable source. Pervert the Ubuntu packaging from some future LTS. Yeah, that's not gonna help us. So, we will do it a different way. Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work. We're just gonna wing it a little bit. So there's this tool called GBP, which is what we use for all the packaging. I wonder if I can just reuse this script directly. Yeah, it only cares about this. Let's see if it works. Import upstream 3.9.0 alpha 1. Git checkout pristine tar. Git checkout orphan pristine tar. Maybe if I make an empty commit? Git checkout -q upstream. I don't know how this works. Xnilo asks, are you working on your editor? Maybe later. Right now I'm working on building Python 3.9 and providing packages for it. That's what I want. Oh, so it just starts with an original import. Okay, so that's not gonna work. We're not gonna be able to use that script. That's not it. That's fine though. What does the script do though is the better question. Actually, maybe I can just comment these out. Let's see what happens if I just comment these out. And comment this out. Might be working. We'll see. I just thought of a terrible troll to do someone. Create a dir called -- in every directory. Yeah, you know what's an even more trolly thing to do? You can touch this file. And so you have a file called rf, and then if you do rm-rf, well, what's even more trolly is if you did this. Oh, it quotes it. That's kind of annoying. If it didn't quote it, it would be so much trollier. But then get somebody to run this command. That would just be mean. I have to be very careful that I didn't do it myself, but... Actually, I wonder... Does this work? Invalid option dot. I guess that makes sense. We need the space here. Anyway, evil things. What is happening right now? Is Docker building? Yes. It is currently running apt-get install. Can't really see what it's doing, but it will eventually build this GBP thing. Yeah, you can delete the dir you're currently in. Yeah, it's true. It just holds on the inode and like causes all sorts of weird stuff. Wait, what changed? Oh, now it's 2 minutes ago. It's been running this command for 2 minutes. Hope it's not stuck. These packages aren't that big. I don't know why it's taking so long. And why I don't already have... I already have this image. Why is it building a new one? Don't know why it's building a new one, but that's fine. Hey, what's up, Xenia? Welcome to the stream. How's your, what is today, Wednesday? How's your Wednesday/Thursday going? I know, aka magic system level stuff a little JavaScript dev like me knows nothing about. I nodes aren't that complicated. They're basically just like pointers to files. Oh, actually, now that I say that, they sound pretty complicated. You're probably right. They're hand-waving magic. They're files. Now what are you doing? Okay, you're done. Okay, cool. Alright, let's see what this does. Importing to branch master. That's not what I wanted. I think I wanted it on the upstream branch. Succeeded though. Huh. Okay, I think that worked. So we'll build on top of that. Gotta create a new repo though. Xenia says, first time on the channel, about to start down my IT path and figured I'd search for streams like yours on Twitch and go figure I found you. Nice. Well, welcome. Sometimes I work in interesting stuff. I don't know if today's stuff is going to be that interesting. It's going to be a lot of like building stuff from source and playing around with Debian packaging, copy and pasting, changing some 8s to 9s. Who knows? Now it just says impressive stuff. Kernel, microservice, cryptography, blockchain, Elon Musk. Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, so Python 3.9, that big number 9. Which oddly enough, I've already contributed code to Python 3.9. Python 3.9 Alpha 1 release notes. Changelog. Oh, doesn't say there. This is not what I was thinking of. I change this to dev, and that is what. 3.9 Alpha 1, here we go. What was it called? Set tab size? Yeah, here we go. Look, I'm in the changelog already. I did a thing. Yay. Oh, I could have just looked for purple inks. That would have worked too. What did your friends ever say about the 10x engineer from Uber? They found it so funny. It was we have this like private private channel where we mostly talk shit, and they thought it was pretty amusing, but like very much like Uber to say something like that. Xenia says, I'm so new to all of this, including the fact that I need to learn Python sooner or later. But it is so fascinating and exciting. Yeah, programming's pretty nice. I like programming. Python's decent. Yeah, so I think there's a chance that I'm gonna do this all wrong. And we'll have to start over. Git push origin, upstream, pristine, tar, and tags. And that's gonna take a while because it's a lot of code to push, but hopefully this should start working. It's working! It's working! Or you can learn JavaScript instead. Python is basically dead at this point. Yeah. Knowledge. Yeah, truer words never spoken, right? Definitely not one of the fastest growing languages. Definitely dead. But JavaScript's cool. I don't write too much JavaScript, but it's a good language. Okay. The next step of this, now that that exists here, is to create the... These are definitely not the branches that I want to be the default branch. see. We're gonna create the Ubuntu Xenia branch to start with. And Python 3.8. I'm gonna copy the code from Python 3.8, but an older version. Okay, let's look at the various changes that have happened here. Hey, what's up, Xenia? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream again. Quick question. Can you comfortably and accurately learn Python in a VM/Linux environment? So, fun story about that. I am full of smoke and mirrors, and this is actually a Windows machine. And I am actually using a virtual machine. So the answer there is definitely yes. I learned on a VM myself, and in a lot of ways I think a virtual machine is actually pretty nice for Linux, because if you screw it up, you can just blow it away and start over. Hey, what's up, Cult of the Dead Cow user? Cult of the Dead Cow user. Welcome to the stream. That's an interesting name. What is the Dead Cow user? Not sure. I thought JavaScript was the fastest growing. Oh, probably. I don't know. Fastest growing programming languages 2019. According to what a buzzy way to write this. This was published 2 days ago with generic people at computers image. Number 10 is Go. Number 9 is assembly. I question that. Number 8 is Python. Huh. Apex. Not Apex Legends. It's like, what? PowerShell, TypeScript, Kotlin, HCL. Is that really considered a programming language? Rust and Dart. JavaScript isn't even listed here. TypeScript is. It basically counts. But that's GitHub, so I don't know that languages on GitHub is potentially what you want to base this on. Is this just a repost of GitHub? Yeah, it's still just GitHub. What is it, the TOB programming index? This is the one that talks about languages and stuff. Here we have Python growing by 2%. Where's JavaScript on this list? JavaScript is decreasing. That seems wrong. This graph seems all over the place. JavaScript apparently peaked in 2010. 2009. That can't be right. Anyway, programming languages, whatever. Satire says, what a bullshit list, PowerShell. Yeah, if it includes HCL, that's like not really a real programming language either. I noticed that as well. Again, I'm brand new to everything, so with basic Ubuntu running on VirtualBox, it really isn't too bad. Yeah, that's what I'm running. I have Ubuntu on VirtualBox. Not very much customization. What does Stack Overflow say? Oh yeah, that's right. Let's see, Stack Overflow, programming languages, popularity. Dev, this is a survey, so that's not necessarily representative of like the questions. This is still survey stuff. Number 1, JavaScript. Number 2, HTML. Number 3, CSS. Number 4, SQL. It sounds just like a web developer. Java. Bash? Python, C#. Oh, I love C#. PHP. Nice. And C++. You got Strewstrup there. I met him in person. Oh man, he got so mad at me. This was in like 2011, maybe 2012. We were in like a small panel, and we're all allowed to ask questions, and everyone was all like, "What's your favorite feature of C++?" Or like, "What are you going to build next after C++?" And I was like, "I don't give a damn." I'm like, well, I'm gonna ask a trolley question. So I asked him what type of phone he has. And he's like, and he went on this like huge rant about like, oh, fucking Androids and iPhones and all you with your supercomputers in your pocket, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, do you have a phone? And he like gets out this like Nokia flip phone. And he's like, This is all I need. I can make my phone calls and I don't have to do this newfangled texting, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, okay. Alright, dude. Sorry, I didn't mean to, like, completely trigger you over a fucking cell phone, but... Come on, JavaScript already peaked. Yeah, that could be true, Valentine. Needs no more Business Insider. Oh, did I open them up again? Dang it. On Stack Overflow, the statistics about ask questions. Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's the actual thing that I wanted. Ask questions, Stack Overflow by language. Stack Overflow trends. This is what I was looking for. Most popular languages. Here we go. So the biggest one is Python. Next is JavaScript. And then Java. And then C#, which has been on a pretty sharp decline. Sharp decline. Hey. PHP also declining. What are these ones down here? You got C++ and R. Swift, which came out of nowhere. It's kind of bouncing around there. C, which has been pretty steady, to be honest. What is this? Ruby, VB.NET, Perl, and Assembly. This more accurately reflects what I was thinking. And I think most of Python going up is its popularity in data science and not like core Python development. I don't want to say core Python development. I don't want to have to like exclude anyone, but like I think there's very clearly two parts of Python development, like the data science portion, and then there's literally everything else. Cult of the Dead Cow user says, do you have much experience in writing Python code to grab network information? Not really. I've written like some really crappy scrapers and stuff, but like I assume you're talking about like information about devices on a LAN or something like that, or doing like DHCP lookups or port scans or that sort of thing. Which I don't really have any experience there, unfortunately. I know there's a bunch of like tools written in Python for like pen testing and other like network security stuff, but I haven't worked much with them at all, so unfortunately no. So he's a Luddite then, yeah. You know who smells? Richard Stallman. Amen, X9LO. Amen. So far so good. The more Google searches I do, the more I learn programming. Yeah, that's how I learned. Learn programming. Hey, what's up, Chief Tattooed Officer? Welcome to the stream. And Frosty8K, what's up, what's up? Swift is the worst language I ever tried. I thought Swift was way better than Objective-C. Objective-C was like, ooh. If I wanted to write a sentence and maybe have working kind of C code, then I would write Objective-C. Poor Go. Yeah, it doesn't even make this list. I can probably add it here. Go. Way down here. No, see, there's no questions asked about Go, because Go is super obvious. Everyone will get the Go programming language without having to know anything. They don't have to ask any questions. The code just, it forces you to do the right thing all the time, always. You can't make mistakes in Go. I'm kidding, of course. You can't tell. Oh, Rust isn't on here either. Yeah, let's add Rust to that. Rust. Come on, let me type in the box. Clearly this JavaScript is broken. Maybe there's too many tags here. Rust is down here at the bottom too. Yeah, there's a huge difference between data science, hacking, and a Jupyter Notebook versus the Whiskey server. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. I yield to you. Python is growing faster than JavaScript, at least on Stack Overflow. It might also just be there's more people that don't know what they're doing, and therefore they ask Python questions. Who knows? Cult of the Dead Cow user says, I currently work as a pen tester, and I'm trying to write a Python program I can put on a Raspberry Pi with one click. It will show you everything about the network. The problem is I can't seem to find a way to pull up the VLAN information. I don't know anything about VLAN, unfortunately. Presumably there's like a protocol you could try, maybe? I've no idea. I'm sorry. But like, I don't know. I've done some. I did like some little network discovery thing once. I was helping a friend work on a security class. I didn't take the class because it didn't fit into my schedule. But one of the things they had to do is like probe the network for all the IP addresses and do something that way. I don't remember how they did it, but it was something like that I helped them with. Hey, what's up, Vim Warrior? Welcome to the stream. You're soon to find out that I'm actually using the best text editor ever, called Nano. It is definitely a text editor that's good. But soon, I will be using an even better text editor called Babi, which I am running myself. But figured you'd want to start the editor wars in the right spot. Check into Twisted, though I'm not sure Python by itself is going to be able to access the driver with the level you need. Oh yeah, Twisted has something for basically everything, so you could probably find something there. Isn't there a Kali distribution that runs on Pi? Yeah, I think so. Apparently there's a Python library for WinPcap. Oh yeah, that might be helpful. NASCAR Fanatic24 says, "Yo lad, mind helping me with something?" I mean, you can ask questions. Who knows how much time I'll have to work on it, but feel free to ask away and I'll see what I can do. Swift is not much better, huh? Bummer. Frosty 8K, you can't make any mistakes. Hold my beer. Time to learn Go. Yeah. Fortran also isn't on there, but it's still heavily used in high performance computing. Yeah, that's true. Santar says Go is mostly a backend language, right? Yes. Mostly like a low-level systems or server application sort of language. Go is very hard for me. I think Go is actually not that difficult. It's pretty verbose and like it feels a lot like C, but at least has like nicer things with like garbage collecting, whatever shenanigans. So it's a little harder to shoot yourself in the foot, but like there's definitely ways. NASCAR Fanatic 24 says, "Mind helping me with something? I'm fairly new to programming, but I've been at it for about 6 months. I made a programming class that ran perfectly, but now it's not running. It's in regard to the URL attribute not having retrieval." I mean, if you post some code and stream delay isn't that long. I'm just very far behind on chat. Sorry. I can't keep up, unfortunately. But yeah, if you post the code and like post your stack trace, like what you expect to see, I can maybe debug some part of it. Yeah, feel free to paste that. I know a great deal about VLAN's problem is you're gonna have to access the network stack at a very low level in order to see the tags from the Ethernet frame. Oh yeah. Vim Warrior says, nice, no editor war. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just trolling. Just playing fun. Frosty 8K says, how much time have you put into Babi? Let's see. We can look at the commit history at least. I think I started in like July. It's 78 commits, so somewhere around like 70 to 80 times that I've sat down and started working on it. July 12th is when I started working on it, and it is now November 20th, so let's see, August, September, October. It's been about 4 months. I don't work on it constantly, it's mostly just like a thing that I do during streams. So, I don't know, if I worked on it every stream from then until now, that would be like 16 weeks times about like 6 hours a stream. So like a upper bound on the amount of time I've worked on it is somewhere around like 96 hours. Math check out? Yeah, somewhere around there. So probably about 100 hours that I've put into this, which is kind of a lot if you think about it. But it's been really fun, and I've learned a lot of interesting stuff. And soon I will have a nice text editor. But not yet. NASCAR Fanatic 24 has pasted a paste bin. Wow, account created... Man, you've been on Twitch for a long time. Account created 7 years ago. My account is not anywhere near that old. Let's open it off screen. Just to make sure everything's fine. Yeah, this seems benign. I made the mistake in the past of just like... of just like running random code from the internet and having trouble with it. Let's see, paste. Okay, so it's a website. We use URL request, enter a URL, add it to a list here. I don't know what the list is for. Do we use site list anywhere? We do. Oh, it's like a recursive scraper, I guess? Start plus 9. Okay, so you're trying to find all of the URLs. I see. So it's just a scraper, essentially. Python3. Okay, so it's valid syntax at least. Oops. And if we load like example.com, it seemed to have worked. Problem is, enter a site and then make a list of hrefs in a list and then loop through that list and get the title tags for all the links in the list. I mean, this seemed to have worked. What's the problem that you're getting with it? I try like precommit.com. 403 forbidden. What URL was it trying to load at that point? Probably because of the user agent. Oh. GitHub blocks URL apparently. User agent. Mozilla 5.0. We will pretend that we're an internet browser. URL retrieve does not have a keyword headers. What is MEDE? What is URL retrieve? URL retrieve. I thought it was like URL open, but it's not. File name data. Copy a network object denoted by a URL to a local file name. Legacy interface. Oh, I see. Headers. Oh, I see. Yeah. We don't actually care about that, right? We can do this URL open. Oh no, I killed the code. I killed the useful code. HTML equals open. Okay. HTML equals body. I don't know why I'm trying to fix this code. Do the same thing down here. That allows us to access this now. URL open. Surely this will work. Although I think I broke the code. HP response has no attribute body. Maybe it's just this? Greenwin.com is not reachable. Anyway, I can fix that, but let me see what your error message was. URLlib.request has no attribute URL retrieve. Oh, did they get rid of it? Seems to be there for me. Do you have a... No, that looks fine. Oh, you named your file urllib/request. Wait, what? I'm so confused. This stack trace makes no sense. It looks like you wrote the code to the wrong file in your standard library, so I think you've broken your Python installation. At least that's what this stack trace looks like to me, because this frame refers to this file, which should be... It should look something like this. Something like this file. This is what it should look like at the top. That's probably what happened. You broke your Python installation there. Oh god, he's using Nano. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you reinstall Python, that'll fix it. But your code looks fine. I mean, it works. It's not how I would write it, but it works. I'm still very new. Yeah, your code. I mean, your code works. It's. I would have written it slightly different, but like, what you have works, and that's probably the most important thing. But yeah, if you reinstall Python, you can get back to a state where things are not so broken. Okay, yeah, but actually, back to what I was actually working on, which is setting up the Debian directory for this. But I want to use an older version of this because for my builds of Python, I enable PGO later on, which takes forever to build. And so I'm going to look at a build before PGO is added, but make sure that I don't... Make sure there's nothing else that I need to worry about here. This is like my PGO patch, which we don't want. We want to check out before that. Wow, music is suddenly super loud. A little bit better. Oh, my dishwasher is done, so it is beeping at me. But yeah, we can take this commit. So we're basically going to copy this entire Debian directory and then update it for Python 3.9, I think. What's the story with running someone's code on stream? There's a clip of it. It's not good. Basically, someone was like, my JavaScript code is broken. And I was like, oh, I'll help you out, because I was being like super helpful or whatever. It's this clip here, if you want to watch it. Anyway, they were like, my JavaScript code's broken. I was like, oh, cool. I know stuff about JavaScript, kind of. I can help you out. And then I was just like, they're like, I'm getting a syntax error. And I was like, oh, well, like the easiest way to check for a syntax error is just like run the interpreter. And if you run the interpreter, then it'll show you that there's a problem or whatever. And so I downloaded their script and ran the interpreter, and it printed some not nice things to the screen. But I've learned my lesson. Check all the code you're gonna run before you run it. I even ran it in like Docker to like avoid. I think I ran it in Docker to like avoid pollution and stuff. But like, And this is a VM, so at least it's somewhat sandboxed. So I wasn't like super exposing myself, but they were just trolling, and yeah, you win some, you lose some. There's some other funny clips in here, like like this one. Twitch. The weird stuff that I'll do for a stream. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna copy this directory. A random XPM file in there. Awesome. python3.8 / Debian to dot. Add Debian, or add python3.8 deadsnakes packaging. Debian. And then, see, what did I do for here? So now we're gonna look at this patch and hopefully make all the same changes. So first we'll start with control.in. So we changed 3.8 to 3.9. No, not those ones. No, only one thing there. Maybe I should look at this one before. I know this will get generated, so I don't need to change that file. I will need to double check it though. I need to change that file. That file's wrong. This is just wrong. Yeah, this should be Beaver, right? Whatever. I'm just not gonna improve it. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. For future me, we'll do this. Okay, cool. Fix that file. Link that clip. Which clip? Twitch has a very strict policy, yeah. That's why I don't want to encourage that clip. But yeah, if you just go to clips and then sort by all time, you can find all of my fun clips, including the one where we talk about my mom's favorite meme. What was this one about? Dating advice. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a pull request, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a pull request, baby. I forget what that was about. I think it was like there was like some article where someone had asked someone to prom or something over a GitHub issue or something super lame. But yeah, something like that. Hey, what's up, Knackle Eric? How's it going? Okay, so we touched that file. We don't have to worry about this patch. Don't have to worry about all of these patches. Pretend 3.10, yeah, that's a good one. We do need to change this though. Debian / rules. So this becomes 9, and this is 3.9.0 alpha 1, I think? Yeah, that looks right. And then this will get generated? No, I don't think so. Control dash file. This is the weirdest thing to me. So there's this file, there's this thing called Debian tester, and it's a file. It's not a directory. So I don't know why it's called tester. But okay, so that should have updated the control file. Yeah, we switched from 3.8 to 3.9. Blah, 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 blah. That looks good. But we need to update this file. Debian test control. So we changed 3.8 to 3.9. No idea what this does. But presumably it needed to change here. And we needed to update Debian tests failing tests. 3.8 to 3.9. Okay, we updated that file, and then failing tests-dbg. What else we got? Test suite. Test suite. Oh. A little bit tedious. I think that's the last file though. Bump version for Python 3. Update S for pver to 3.9. A1. Man, that one's gonna be a weird one to type for a while. And then I think we just bump the changelog to 390 alpha 1 dash 1 plus Xenia 1. Python 3.9.0 alpha 1 release. In theory, this will build. Let's see. Add our. We want. Where'd the version go? What the hell? Here we go. And in theory, this will build. It'll take quite a long time to end up doing that. I was asking about the clip that you said that you helped someone with JavaScript. Oh, yeah, you'll find it. It's one of those. They're creating Python 3.8. Oh, I did a dumb. Try that one. Neckler, nothing much. I was sort of kind of trying to multitask and watching the stream as well as the Democratic debate, but I heard that pickup line in the background and laughed. Oh no. This is exactly what I expected to happen. Dang it. We're gonna have to fix all the patches. Oh. Oh, that's annoying. I think that means I have to start over. Shoot. Actually, I wonder if I can do this. Because we want to just get the patches for... We don't actually care about how I get the patches, I think. Yeah. so if I set it back to this, we don't want to push. Okay, we've turned off pushing. Import upstream error. Argument version cd to the python3.9 repo. Did I really like give myself an error message here? Yeah, we'll just comment that out. We'll see what happens. Yeah, NASCAR fanatic, you'll have to uninstall Python because you broke your installation. That's definitely the thing you'll have to fix. Okay, that should have completely broken these branches. Will this work? I'm hoping this works. Oh, it worked. Oh, I think it worked. We need this patch. Actually, we can just copy that. And we'll edit this. Well, that's good. I'm hoping to get to the point where it just starts building and then I can stop worrying about it and work on something else at the same time. Would it have been from debugging it and opening a request.py? Yes, that is what broke it. That is exactly what broke it. That file's not really supposed to be edited. Oh, that seems not right. Maybe I just don't remember how the build works. But anyway, we'll hope this succeeds. Once Debian publishes their official packaging of this, I'll probably go back and update and make sure it still works. But this is just gonna build for a while, and so while that's working, what else was I gonna work on today? What else do I want to work on today is the real question. Hey, what's up, NASCAR fanatic? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Even though I've been chatting with you in chat already. But anyway, that patch was helpful. I'm glad I went through that exercise before, so hopefully don't have to again in the future. And it's just going to run a bunch of GCC commands over here, so it's not going to be super interesting to watch that for a while. But what else could I work on? I do want to work on my text editor. What stuff did I know that I wanted to work on before? Oh, this was one that's super easy. This one will be super easy to implement. Yeah, let's just do this one. So I can show you the like micro, very tiny bug here. This is one that I found on stream while I was demoing it to someone else. If you open Babi with multiple files, let's just get them to clear their statuses. So I'm on file 2 of 2 right now, but if I switch to the first file, it still keeps this unknown key down here, but really it should say like switched files or something. Just to be a little friendlier. Like we don't need to keep this status when we switch files. And I think Nano does the same thing. Like if you, yeah, when you switch files, it tells you that you switched. That should be pretty easy to implement, but just like a little quality of life thing here. What is this file? It's the number 0 to 9. Don't need that file. Why am I sucking at running these commands? I forget what this branch is. I know I implemented jump to line. This is my work in progress branch of this. Jump to line does work though. If I want to jump to line 99, I can do that immediately like this. We can jump to line 0, which is actually the first line in the file. And you jump to some absurdly large number and it knows to max that at the end of the file. You can also jump to a negative number, which counts from the bottom of the file. So if we do like -5, it'll go to here. And if we do negative a very, very large number, it goes to the beginning of the file. And so that was that feature. But yeah, let's see. Probably have another test for multiple files. That's multiple modification. Here we go. So I can probably add to this test directly. Oh, I wonder if when closing a file, does Nano say that it's switched? Oh, it does. Okay. Cool. Although, how will I do that in Babi? I think it's in this function. Yeah. So I really need, in these cases, to handle the file switching. Oh, but it's more complicated than that. It's basically like, I don't want to show the message the first time that it opens, but I want to show it every time after that, if I want the exact same behavior as Nano. But I don't necessarily want the exact same behavior as Nano. Maybe I'll just make it so that when you switch, it clears it. That does it because it says new file at the bottom. I'm pointing at my screen, but you can't. You obviously can't see that, but I can see myself pointing at my screen. Yeah, I think I'll just make it so that when you... Oh, and I guess if I show status while exiting, that's completely fine, because that'll get cleared. I'll just clear the status. I think that's fine. Make sure to clear statuses when statues. Hey, what's up, Sukulatum? I'm working on building python3.9, which is happening over here. Oh no! Oh shoot. Oh. Dang it, now I gotta figure out the right size of my VM. I accidentally grabbed the bottom of the window. Does that line up properly? I promise I'm a quality streamer, I know what I'm doing. No, it doesn't. 1 pixel? Okay, I think that's right now. See my OBS. Quality streamer, I know what I'm doing. But over here we're building Python 3.9, and over here I'm working on Babi while this builds, because it takes a while. Make sure to clear statuses when switching files. H dot press Control J. Unknown key. That'll be our test. We can start by running this. It should fail that test. We'll keep this running even though it completely destroys the compression of the video. Okay, cool. So the status is persisting even though we don't want it to. But it's easy to fix that by just doing what? Yes. I should just make a clear function instead of an update function. That seems like a thing to do. Clear. Which all it needs to do, so technically it can set status to the empty string, but it can also, actually how does this work? Oh, it currently checks the truthiness of status. You just do self.status equals the empty string. And we can find all the times that I do this. Is it really only that? That's the only other time that I set status to the empty string? I find that really hard to believe. But I guess now that I think about it, there's no other place that I would need to clear it. Okay, so that should make the test pass. He says with confidence as it fails again. What failed here? Hey, what's up, Yusuf Kakan? Sorry, I butchered that. My bad. But welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Oh, I see. I adjusted the file so it went to the different spot. We did meta right here. We also need to do meta left to make sure that works as well. So that'll get it in the right order. Here's the link to Babi. I'll put that in the chat. Bang Babi. Yeah, here's the link. Batiska, oh, you stopped by the stream. You said hi, and I didn't say hi back. Well, welcome to the stream. Hi. Will you rewrite Babi in async? Probably not. Is there an async curses? Honestly, I've been not impressed with curses so far. Or not curses, I've not been impressed with async IO. Async console, I'm not really sure about the name. This is my first curses experiment. It's a console application using curses windows. One for displaying text, another for receiving keyboard input. You'll also be able to just say async. You know anything like this? Please tell me. I'd rather be coding something else. Damn. I don't think this is true async. It's not. Nothing about this is async. It's threads. Okay. So kind of the right idea. Oh, async didn't even exist then. That's fair. Do I need to do async IO? What is this thing? Async IO is a Python standard loop event loop. Blah, 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 blah. Ye old imports. This is a pub sub library. Doesn't have anything to do with curses. They just happen to use curses to show it, I think. Must include curses. Yeah, I don't think anyone's done an async IO curses. It certainly could make sense. Try prompt toolkit. I think this is just a wrapper around like redlining curses. I don't think it's true. I don't think it's async IO. Kinda cool though. It says Emacs, but it also says Python. Well, maybe they're running Emacs and then I don't know. I don't know. But no, I don't think I'll be rewriting in async IO at any time. But this is Babi's repo, so you can see some of the features that it has. Like, this is a color test that'll eventually be used for syntax highlighting. This is the file view that you saw before, the like unknown key stuff. Moving the cursor around. This is the horizontal scrolling, which honestly I spent a really long time, and it was very much a like mind melt to implement the horizontal scrolling stuff. Multiple files, which we also just demoed. Saving, which I didn't demo, but it does work. And then the meme quitting, the Vim quit of Babi. You can quit it with :Q. Now the music is super quiet. What is going on today? There's probably like one song in the playlist that's loud and it just like throws everything else off. Okay, so this test should fail now too, I think. Where did the test go? Here we go. I wanted to rewrite a couple of my command projects in async. Yeah, I don't know that anything exists for it yet. The one thing that I have written with async IO is nope, not that one. Is the chatbot that lives in this in the channel. It's implemented with async IO. Why are there issues on this? Oh yeah, this one that I never figured out. This one that I probably won't implement because I realize there's a slash command that does this. Oh wait, no, there's not. There's a slash command that limits it to subscribers mode, but I can figure it out through the Twitch UI, which I didn't realize until then. Oh, this one I should really do. I always forget to set my streaming tags for like what categories that I'm streaming in. In fact, I forgot it this stream until like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes in. I've been meaning to write a command for that. But this is my GitHub org for my Twitch and YouTube stuff. This is the async IO IRC chatbot that I wrote. It's not true IRC, as as Grim always reminds me. Oh no. No. Oh, I have a script for this though. It's fine. Hopefully the script will work. If I remember right, I copy this. Why is so many things missing? Oh, whatever. Guess they made a lot of symbols changes. Holy cow. Lots of C API changes. So if my script works, fix symbols. Paste the printed patch and then press Control D. Like I need to press Enter and then Control D. Let's try that again. Let's just do Control D. Value error, too many values to unpack. Expected 2. Oh, I think that means I have to apply this patch all by hand. Oh, I hates it. So this is the full patch. Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, let's update that symbols file. So one kind of unfortunate thing about the way Debian works is when you export a library, you declare all of the symbols for that exported library. And so inside of the Debian folder, there's this libpython.symbols.in, which contains every C symbol that's in libpython. And so I need to go through and delete all of the missing ones and add back all of the not missing ones. So these two are gone. Mod2obj is the next one. Those go away. Async gen clear free lists. So we lose those two functions. We lose all of pyblake2. I'm a little suspicious of that. What is pyblake2? Because that's a public name that went away. Where does this symbol come from? I'm on the 2.7 branch. It's definitely there. So this module didn't build properly, I guess? Why didn't this module build properly? Search up faster. That's it. Doesn't mention it anywhere else. That's really weird. Or maybe there's so much output that it's off screen. Oh, there's so much output that it's off screen. Okay, that's suspect, but whatever. I can always add it back later. That's what alphas are for. So we lost all the Blake 2 stuff. We have a new thing. So we look for pybuffer release. This is just going to be a really boring part where I manually put in symbols in this file. I'm a manual diff applier. Buffered IO base. Those seem important. Why are they gone? I don't know. We might end up with like a super broken Python after this. bytes IO type. Why is that one gone? It does seem to still be there. So something is super broken with the build. Seems. Yeah, because it's defined here. Maybe it's no longer defined in a header? Fix the global checker tool. Add a tool that identifies unsupported global C variables. And what does this patch do? Okay, so we're probably gonna build a super broken Python. Dang it. This is not gonna be as easy as I thought it was gonna be. Unfortunately. But that's fine. Let's build a super broken Python and then we'll iterate from there. I'm gonna fix up this symbols list though, even though it's wrong. So where were we? Pi bytes IO type. Pi bytes Finny. Presumably a finalizer. Pi C function Finny. Pi C function new. Capital N. Oops. I compile string. Yeah, a lot of these sound like things that should exist. So we'll probably end up with a super broken Python. That's fine. Pi context token missing type. Pi dict finalizer. Pi error warn. That sounds like a function that's important. Pi FPE something. Counter dummy JBuff. And pi file IO type. Pi float Finny. Pi frame Finny. PyGen needs finalizing. It's also possible that they just made a bunch of breaking changes, and that's completely okay, I guess. Hey, what's up, Juan? How's it going? I'm slowly deleting symbols from the Debian file. What is that emote? Justin130, hey. Hey! IIO base type. I import cleanup. I incremental new line decoder type. Hey, what's up, Mindful Fox? What is that emote? Some sort of gang sign, I see. Vape Nash. Oh, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means at all. I'm not hip with the kids or whatever. I list finalizer. I long. Oh, okay. I see. Like nation. Yeah. You get those streams where like someone vapes and then they have to say choo choo. I don't think I would ever vape though. It seems gross. But that's just me. If you guys want to do it, then more power to you. My number as off T. I don't know what that means. My number in matrix multiply. Also, I'm presumably going to miss something here, and then I'm gonna have to do this all over again. Call method obj args. He's actually a Netflix engineer. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's a Wednesday stream. It's a weird day for me to stream. It's not usual. But Python 3.9 Alpha 1 got tagged yesterday, so I figured I should make this happen. PyParser add token. So why not stream me doing really boring stuff like slowly deleting symbols from this file? Are you going back to Michigan for Thanksgiving? No, I don't really do Thanksgiving. My family never really did Thanksgiving, and now that my parents are divorced, so like we really don't do Thanksgiving. I guess my dad does, kind of. But I mostly go back for Christmas, and that's my like go and see family time. Yeah, I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving all that much, which is probably fine. We don't really need to celebrate massacring of natives. Stay woke, yeah. That's precisely what I was going for. You know, me, the old woke millennial here. Real uppity on all that stuff. Which actually, I have kind of a funny story. So yesterday I was recording a podcast, which I doubt it's ready yet, although he says he doesn't do much editing. It's called Profitable Python, which is funny because I don't know why I was invited onto Profitable Python, because I mostly just write free things. But anyway, he invited me on. He's a really fun guy. But at one point he's like, so tell me what you think about Bitcoin. And I was just like, oh hell no, here we go. We're gonna talk about Bitcoin. I went on like this medium-sized rant about how it's like consuming all the world's electricity, and we're accelerating the heat death of the universe, and like all this other shit. We're like building essentially a fake bank that is just going to end up being a bank. Is music loud again? It is loud again. Come on, music. But I go through this whole like spiel about like global warming and such, and then I was like, you know what other industry has a problem with global warming? The petroleum industry. And I go on about that for a little bit, and then it turns out, we Google this guy. Ben McNeil. How do you find him? Yeah, maybe this one. It turns out that he works at a petroleum company. So I'm like shitting on the oil industry, and then I was like, oh, that's a yikes for me, dog. But he was fine about it. He was I was very apologetic because I was like, oh, I didn't mean to just shit on your industry, but yeah. He did. That was exactly what he said, Mindful Fox. He's like, you know, funny that you say that. All the way to PyTokenizer get. I'm really nervous about all these symbols that I'm deleting. Something feels wrong here. But maybe everything will just work and everything will be okay. Almost knock on wood a little bit there. Pi frozen. Oh, it's pi underscore frozen name. Why do these ones have underscores? I guess those ones do also. But yeah, the podcast was really good. We basically scheduled for, well, he scheduled for an hour to work on stuff. And at the hour point, he's like, you know, I have like 6 more questions to ask. Can we just keep going? And I was like, I got nothing to do. Let's do it. And then we ended up talking for almost two hours, so it might be a really, really long podcast. So what am I supposed to do here? Why did it stick that optional regex in there? That's weird. That's probably why my my auto-fixing tool choked on this. Probably could have debugged that and fixed that instead of doing this all by hand, but we're far enough in now. So this goes away. The optional ones I can ignore because they're optional. See, this part is so annoying. This is why I turned off symbols on my nightly builds, because it would just be this nonsense over and over and over. That goes away. That goes away. Those go away. function debug malloc stats. Fast call dict. I'm very, very suspicious. Well, that's weird. This got introduced in 3.8 and then dropped in 3.9. That seems wrong. Did I do this like completely wrong? I'm starting to doubt. Press what is it? Press X to doubt. One, two, three, all the way to pi context init. Key size, load global. New keys for class. We're just looking at all the symbols in CPython right now and deleting. We're just nano snapping some percentage of them. And I don't know why. And I expect when we finally get a build working. Oh, there's a two new types here. That's weird. Okay, so we get rid of get topmost and pi error init. So we add these symbols above normalize exception. 3.9.0 alpha 1. Oops, we pressed caps lock there. Caps lock is cruise control for cool. Warn unawaited. Is this like a manual diff? Yeah, I have a tool that automates this, but it's broken. Also, it's not a perfect diff because it's not actually comparing two files, it's comparing two generated files. And so I can't do it exactly with diff. And something about my script, I wrote a script to automate this because this is super tedious, and this is one of the parts that I really hate about maintaining these packages. But the automatic script failed, and I didn't feel arsed to try and debug the automatic script. In hindsight, I probably should have, because I probably would have saved time. But yeah, here we are. I think we're getting close to the end. Oh no, we're not even halfway through. Fuck. Yikes. Okay, we go to new iter values. Oh, okay, well we're just deleting a bunch of stuff here. This is fine. We go from import without all the way to import zip init. That cuts out a lot of lines there. Import add module object to find built-in. Oh, I lost where we were. Import find extension object X. We have a Finny and we have a Finny 2 here. That one's new. Import init. What the fuck is libpython.symbols? So the way Debian packages any linkable library, or at least the way you're supposed to package any linkable library, is you distribute the .so file, and then you distribute another file that says all of the C symbols that it exports. And so this is all of the C symbols that are exported from CPython. And there's like 1,800 of them. There are a lot. And every time you bump the version, the symbols might change. And so I'm dealing with the changes in the symbols between two versions, which is what the diff on the left is. Unfortunately, there's no just like accept the diff and like make it so, because as you can see on the right, all of these ats are substituted. So like a preparser turns those into a final file. Yeah, it's only like a bajillion symbols. It's true. Load dynamic module with spec reinit lock. Okay. Presumably they just changed some way that symbols are public or private, and this is maybe not actually a problem. But I suspect I'm going to have to go back and redo all of this. But fortunately, it's versioned in Git, so I can just undo this commit if that's the case. But we're hoping I don't have to do that. Did I skip one? Node finalized. No, we got that one. Okay. PyOS my stir and I comp hack. That's a great exported symbol name. Oh, this is a new function. I see. It's fun to be a package maintainer. Yeah, this is probably my least favorite part of packaging. If I didn't have to do this, everything would be so much nicer. The new function. Also, this is like super error prone too. We got this function too. Hey, what's up, Rena and Teffy? Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. 390 alpha 1. Yeah, this is super boring. We'll get back to interesting stuff soon, I promise. But you guys can ask questions, and then I can answer those while I'm doing this tedium. I'm decently good at multitasking, although if you distract me enough, we'll go down some rabbit hole. Then this will get done slower, but that's fine too. All right, we're going to git config. The music's real quiet again. There we go. Bump that. This is to complete 4 functions here. Almost press that evil shortcut here. Okay, so this doesn't matter. But we'll delete all of these. We start at add bytes. So we leave fast loop there. Right? Why do I not see fast loop over here? This diff makes no sense. There's like one line that's missing here. Or am I losing my mind here? Why does this one sort above this one? Clearly, these letters all match. Oh, F and P? Where's the F then? Other than in the chat. Unless... Oh, it's a conditional one. It doesn't look conditional here though, so I don't know what's going on there. But it's missing, so I guess we delete it. All the way down to permute 24 rounds. Oh, and then we delete the rest of them down here. Sponge to sponge squeeze. Oh, sponge to hash update. Or hash update. I prefer to install new Python versions via pyenv. Never tried deadsnakes. Yeah, so the thing with pyenv is you need to build from source every time you do it. And it turns out that it's not always the easiest to provide a thing that's built from source that has all of the patches that you want. For instance, like the platform module on Ubuntu. If you build it straight from source, you'll get a different answer for some of the functions than you would if you have the Debian patched ones. Because Debian fixes some of those functions for Ubuntu's sake. But also, like, you'll get different module layouts and different performance characteristics, and like, it's generally better to have one that's provided by your operating system manager or your package manager. But I don't know, pyenv is good enough in most cases. I just don't like to use it myself. Mostly because I don't want to install all of the crap that you need to build from source. But I can have package manager do that once, and then I don't have to worry about it after that. But to each their own. I'm not gonna try and force you down one way or another. It's not how I roll. I don't need to convince people to use my stuff. Alright, dare I look at the progress? Oh, only 400 lines to go. Still a lot. One says, made a new release of my HTTP client library, now with web scraper support built in. Feels good, man. Nice. Let me check out that image that you posted. Oh yeah, this is your faster than requests thing. Nice. That's cool. I like your highlighting here. Whatever you're using to highlight looks nice. Multi-threaded bulk get. Interesting. And if I remember right, the way you implemented that is with nim as a backend, and then you just like put a C extension around it. Is that how that worked? Actually, one of the things that the podcast asked me about was what programming languages are you interested in looking at in 2020? And one of the ones that I actually mentioned was NIM. And actually, I am looking forward to trying that out we're trying it out more so in 2020. Okay. I have looked at it a little bit, but it's potentially one that I want to look into a little bit more. Carbon.now.sh. Nice. That's how that works. Cool. But yeah, hoping to try some more NIM in 2020. Maybe I'll add pre-commit support for it. That would be a good way to get started. That'll at least force me to write a Hello World program, right? Dump traceback threads. Oh. Stuff is so tedious. We're gonna get there eventually, though. That's what I keep telling myself. I'm gonna get there eventually. These are all the parts of the AST that we're getting to now, which is kind of a little suspicious. All the way to index. I wonder if this change, I did point this out at some point in some BPO issue that was like, hey, you guys know that you export a lot of symbols that probably shouldn't be exported, and every time you change them, I have to update them in a Debian package. And maybe somebody listened to that and actually fixed it, and so I'm the one to blame for all of my tedium right now, because I suggested this at some point. Could also be that someone else is working on it, though. I don't want to take credit where it's not necessarily my fault or my problem there. Hey, what's that pouring hot tea on your face? I'm working on what's possibly the most boring thing that I could be working on, which is manually applying a diff to this giant file. Slowly but surely I'm getting there, though. And then hopefully we'll be able to build this, and if everything goes well, we'll have a working python3.9. Try tuple type ignore. I hate that this became actual syntax in 3.9. It's like, it was one of those changes where it was like, yeah, it's super convenient for MyPy, but it kind of sucks for everyone else who has to deal with AST. They added type ignore comments as a first-class citizen. So now all those Python people that are like, Go has comments that execute as code. Now they can eat their words because Python has the same shit. Oh, that's a lot of symbols that go away there. All the way to pi_bytes upper. What syntax? Oh, your keyboard squeaks. It does squeak. I haven't figured out how to fix it. It's very, very subtle squeak. So the module object now has this type ignore thing attached to it. Before it was just super simple, just like a list of statements. And a type ignore has a line number and a tag. There's also type comments. Where do those end up? Yeah, so you can have a type comment on a function def, an async function def, an assignment, a for loop, an async for loop, a with statement, an async with statement, and a function argument. And so it's basically the implementation of the PEP 484 type comments. Oh, actually, we should use this sweet new command that exists. Bang PEP 484. No, it's in 3.8. It's not in 3.9. Hey, what's up, Ethan Typing? Welcome back to the stream. Did you change your handle? You did change your handle. Like one of the first badges. Like, truly, I should know who you are, but I know who you are. You came right at the right time as I'm grumbling about type comments in Python 3.8. But it's basically this syntax is now first class in Python 3.8, which I don't know. I didn't really necessarily agree with the change, especially at least my reasoning was like the type comment syntax should go away pretty soon as Python 2 mostly dies and Python 3.4 is already dead. And so like needing first class support for it moving forward should be a little less. Yeah, it is in the AST. It's part of the AST. I think what should have happened instead and would have made me way happier is if instead of like making it part of the AST, changed Python to use a concrete syntax tree instead. I think I would have been much happier about that. Because I've kind of always wanted that from Python. It goes all the way down to py normalize encoding. Then we add a symbol here above py open. But I'm okay being wrong about this. There are people who don't want to double under feature and don't want to have runtime effects due to typing. I guess that makes sense. They don't want future type annotations. And they can use type comments without needing all of the import syntax. Or without having the, like, I guess they're actually evaluated until, at least on return annotations and argument annotations. Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. But I'm still gonna grumble about it. But it's a good point. It's one that I hadn't really considered all that much. And maybe I'll shut up about it now that I've heard that. But I'm gonna keep asking for a CST until the day I die. Or like a standard library CST that isn't broken like lib2.3. Oh my god, is that the end of the file? Are we finally here? Did we finally do it? I think we finally did it. My tab. So I usually have a very specific commit message for this. There we go. Paste this. $300 plus 12 minus 394, all done manually. Alright, we'll start that build again. Also, you must use type comments for type ignore. Yeah, that's true. I think if like type comments didn't exist and there was only type ignore, there would have been a much less argument on adding that to the AST, because then it only affects one of the nodes and not all of them. It's what CST is concrete syntax tree. Basically, basically an abstract syntax tree is a symbolic representation of the code, and a concrete syntax tree is that symbolic representation, but each of the nodes are tied to the actual source in the code, such that you can change a CST, or you can load a file into a CST, delete the file, and then write the CST out, and it should be byte identical as the input. But the more interesting part about a CST is you could write code refactors that mutate the CST and write back the source, but only change the parts that you're actually changing. Whereas like right now, if you load the AST in Python and then write out the AST, you lose all white space, you lose all comments, you lose some formatting, you can lose some commas. What else can you lose? You can lose some parentheses. I think that's it. Commas, parentheses, white space. The things that people bicker about all the time. But yeah, it would be kind of nice to be able to preserve that in a standard way. Yeah, I know why the change was done, Ethan. Yeah, it was because Guido was sick of working on typed AST, which is fair. And I'm sure the rest of the ModPy team is happy that that exists now. So like, it was definitely one of those like, Guido's gonna push this through because Guido sort of things. So I mean, pretty representative of some of the features that made it into Python 3.8, right? What am I grumbling about? Grumbling about assignment expressions. Okay, but we're also working on my text editor at the same time. The thing that I'm fixing right now, if I open 3 files and then if I trigger a status and then I switch a file, it should clear that status before I was leaving the status there. But the other thing that it should do is if I close the file, it should also clear the status, but it's not doing that yet. So that's what this test is asserting that we wrote before I became a manual git diff, git apply machine. But now we'll just fix that real quick. It's super easy to fix. Cmain. We just have to clear the status after exiting a file. If you mistype a type comment, it's a syntax error. Is that true? No, it just uses it as a string, I think. VM38. You can actually see what the AST produces from it. I think it just parses it as a string, and then the tools are allowed to parse it afterwards. The music is loud again. Constantly adjusting volume here. Huh, it just dropped the type comment. That's not what I expected. That's not what I remember. Why is the type comment stuff not working? Do I need to like flip it on or something? Type comments equals false. Let's see. So I should probably change astpretty. So that's something we can do. Let's see. So I know I added typed support. If you have typed AST. Args.parsefunc. Ooh. There's dash dash untyped. Oh, I see, it does nothing. Let's see. If args.parsefunc is ast.parse and sys.version.info is greater than or equal to 3.8, I should probably make an option for this, but I just want to see. Ooh, right at 80 characters. Nice. That's not what I wanted. This is not defined. Okay, so now we get type ignores. That's working. Why did we not get a type comment though? Right? Shouldn't it have made a type comment for this? Oh, I forgot the colon. Gotta do it. Oh, the music is super loud again. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Can you eval stuff there? No, I don't think you can. But what happens if we make a syntax error there? Yeah, it just grabs it as a string, so you don't actually have that. But should I include this by default? That was a sick drop, yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty sick drop. Probably a bit overwhelming as well. Okay, I have a choice here. Do I set this by default and not give people an option, or do I give people an option? I think that I just don't give them an option. Although it's really weird to me that ast.parse has this new thing now. Here's the tab when I was looking at that. Oh, it was this one that I closed it. Type comments and feature version. Oh, that's the other thing with like unsupporting or resupporting different keywords. What if you say and not untyped? That's what this is. This is the untyped. These arguments are for typed AST, which is where AST27, AST3 are coming from. So this expression right here is equivalent to dash dash untyped. This is actually the opposite of the untyped flag. Untyped is basically use standard lib AST. It's confusing. 3.8 made this way more confusing. But I think this is fine. Still too long. I guess I should write a test for this. Py3.5 only syntax. We'll do a similar thing to this, but one for 3.8. Fails for 3.8. We'll just make a module and kind of a crappy test here. Let's see. So whatever, some module here. Do module body. Oh, but we actually want the full body here. Just want ast.parse. And I don't know what I expect here, so we'll make it happen in a second. Ethan says, but if I'm on 3.8 and I want untyped, that will still give me type comments because ast.parse handles type comments. Yes, that's the plan. Zoomer says, hey dude, just stopping by to say hi. What are you working on, by the way? In the left-hand tab, over on the left-hand side, we are, but to you it looks like the right-hand side. So if I point there, left-hand side, but it's actually I'm pointing the right. It's confusing. Over here I'm building Python 3.9. The first alpha dropped yesterday, and so I'm building packages for Ubuntu. And on the right, I'm working on my astpretty printer to support type comments. But you're right, it is building the docs. This is like the very last step in the build. So hopefully we're getting close, and hopefully it will succeed. No promises though. This is the part that ruins my compression. It's great. Yeah, multitasking, because I'm clearly doing lots of work in this tab over here. And I'm the hacker man. Type support is false. Oh right, we never updated this for Python 3.8. Gotta update to Python 3.8. Yeah, two prod at the same time. Yeah. We need -r because we changed the requirements and Tox is still not clever enough to know the difference. And I'm not using my special plugin that makes it just work. And we have... What the fuck? Why did PyTest... Oh, someone changed the colors here. I don't like it. I miss the old colors. Ah, shit. The same thing that I'm fixing is gonna break everything else. Oh, it's also gonna break because of end line numbers. Oh. Damn it. This is gonna be a lot of work. I don't even know how I'm gonna do this properly. Because I now need to also handle all of these things in my AST tests. Juan Carlos Paco says, I started using GitHub Actions to build from scratch on every push. Is fast. Don't know where it runs though. It runs in Azure Pipelines. That is the smoke and mirrors that's happening there. It's actually running in Azure Pipelines. But yeah, AST tests are really annoying. We're about to have some sad times. Oh. Damn. Yeah, anytime I'm gonna have call offset and line number, I'm also gonna have end line number and end call offset, which is new. No. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? I missed more symbols, guys. We gotta do this stupid diff game again. Ugh. Context switch for a second while I grumble about AST testing. How did I miss this? I hope there's not like non-deterministic symbols. That would be real crappy. This one is fine to ignore. High hammed associative. I assume that's what it stands for. I don't actually know. Oh, we can get rid of this down here. And this. Right? Oh no, that's still there. I'm very confused about this output. Fine. Just making sure that I didn't change some symbols that already existed. High buffer size. Okay, that's... Oh. I screwed up this one, so I gotta put this one back. Because it should say SFR there, but I changed it, even though these are the same here. Should be SFR. There's not that many plus lines, and those are the only ones that I need to audit. That one is brand new, so that's correct. That's brand new also. That one. Those look like I changed the symbols, but they're both new, so that's fine. New. These two are new, that one is new. New. This one I feel like I could have screwed up, but no, that one's new also. That one's good too. Okay. And we start the build again. Hey, what's up, Chris WW? Thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. Zmare says, gonna be lurking. Good luck on the projects. Well, thank you for stopping by. There's actually a nifty bang lurk command, which will, bot will thank you for lurking. But now I gotta figure out how to do these tests, which is gonna suck. I guess I could do, let's see, LT38 expected is this, and then do a python3.9 expected, and then expected equals, I'm just doing this to like trick coverage. That's exactly 80 characters too. I guess I could do that. That's one way to do this. Just copy this pattern wherever I have this end line number. But I'll have to do that in all of these cases. Oh, it's so gross. Whatever. This is what we do for love. This one have? No, it doesn't. Oh, there's this neat show offsets equals false. Could change them all to do that. And then only have one test with offsets. Actually, I like that idea. I like that idea way better. I'm just gonna remove offsets from most of them. Yeah, I like that idea. How does that idea sound? Hey, what's up, Gahedo123? Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. Yeah, so we can do ret equals this. Show offsets equals false. Do that, and then just remove the offsets from these. And that'll make more of the tests pass. Which is good. A little bit cheaty. And I don't think this actually reduces any of the test coverage because I will go back and add in a test for show offsets equals true. Which is going to be this one. Which actually I just deleted. Let me, with offsets. So we'll keep this test and do the little expected dance up here. And we'll fix that up. Line got too long. So this is one of those few cases where I would probably use a rectangular selection in Vim to delete. Not using Vim, so no rectangular selection for me. Here where I did source. I'm at least consistent in how I do this. cool cat. You're a cool cat, Juan. No, you. For some reason, I supported indenting with tabs. I don't know why. Literally a feature that I would never use, but that's fine with me. SP format nested node without line information. Oh. I guess this one needs to have offsets. That seems kind of important to this test. Seems kind of important to this test, so we will keep this in here. Yeah, no tabs. I don't use tabs, man. It's not my jam. Ooh, just squeaked in under 80 characters. Nice. Leaf node with list. Test main. Oh, is there an option to main to not show offsets? Oh, yeah, the next test. Test main with offsets. Okay, expected 3.8 equals. Expected 3.8. Oh, dang it. I deleted some blank lines, so I lost my paste buffer. Yeah, my editor freaks out whenever I use triple-quoted strings, so I try and avoid them whenever possible. Cool, hide offsets. But I have that option, I guess. I wonder if typed AST, it probably didn't backport the new end call and line offset stuff, because like, why would it do that? I probably don't have to fix any of these. Oh, this is named wrong. And actually, I don't need a special test here. Because... I probably do. SP format python3.9 type comments. I don't think that has been done. I don't think we'll backport either. Yeah, it makes sense. Why would you put the effort in? Like, the whole point of 3.8 was to not have to do that. Okay, so we should be only like 4 failing tests now, I think, instead of 13. Nope, still have 10. Oh, right, num changes to constant. Oh, that's so annoying. Instead of numbers, I have constant now. I guess I could change it to use variables. I typoed there too. Yeah. We're gonna use variable names instead of numbers. Just so I don't have to change it to constants. So that should get us down to 9 failing tests. Cool, we're working our way there. All right, what's the next test that we want to fix? This one. Let's fix this one. Test-k python3.9 This one I'm just gonna cheat. I'm gonna grab the return value here, and you can probably print that. That's not what I expected to paste, but it did work. Oh, I did it like this. Well, we're getting some spew over there, so presumably we're getting close to the end of the build again. We'll find the next set of mistakes that I've made. Wait, we didn't get type comments here. Why didn't we get type comments here? Oh. We need to actually call main. Capsus and tempter. Dang it! Well, we'll fix this up in a minute. Don't mind me, I'm gonna... Oh right, I learned this new trick in Nano where you can highlight code and indent it that way. Which I'll have to implement in Babi, but Babi doesn't even have indenting right now, so I need to... It's a future me problem. This comment should be this, I think, if I did this right. And this should be what type ignore, and then I think it's like line equals 2. Can't you use a multi-line string? Yeah. Yeah, I can. Yes, I can. I often avoid them because it makes my editor sad, but I think this place is fine to do it. Hey, what's up, Aperture? Thank you for the raid with a party of 4. Ooh, those are some nice LEDs. What do you stream, Aperture? What were you working on? Check out your channel. Oh, hosting me! What a novel concept. Alright, we don't need to see that. What are you? What do you do? I'm some schleb from East Texas. Nice. Why do you stream? Because sometimes we all need a break. I know that feel. I also just saw my build fail, so I'm about to be some sads. Yeah, thanks for the raid. Welcome to the stream. I'll check out your channel later. And why do we have more failures now? Oh, it's the debug build now. I do Python, Flask, and other business. Nice! I've actually contributed to Flask, so I know some stuff there. I also do a bunch of Flask at work, so I'm pretty familiar with that kind of stuff. But yeah, sounds awesome. I'm trying to build Python right now. I'm also working on my astpretty printer library. And I'm working on my text editor all at the same time. We're multitasking here. Did I finish this? We got that working. That goes to a new file. Yeah, okay, we did finish that. Okay, so the text editor part, I've done that part yet, already. Hey, what's up, Washaki? Thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. What do I gotta do here? Current project is a web app to integrate Bitcoin Lightning Network into Streamlabs and Stream Elements streaming tipping overlays. Oh, that's interesting. You just missed my my rant about cryptocurrency, but that's fine. libpever debug.symbols.in. There's a whole nother set of symbols here that have disappeared. My Unicode dump is gone. Compact data? I don't see that. I don't see that at all. Oh no, where does it come from? Oh no, I'm on the line. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. And then we get to build this shit again. And yes, I saw the pprint tree. We gotta get rid of that. And show tree. And toke dump. Alright, hopefully this will be the last time. Oh, I almost missed this symbol too. That would have been, yeah, I'm not a fan of cryptocurrency. It's a giant suck of electricity. Oh, maybe I did get rid of dump tree. Oh no, I didn't. Ooh. I'll almost cost myself a bunch of time there. That would have sucked. Let me double check this again. So we got rid of Unicode dump. This is fine because it's optional. Got rid of those 3. And we just got rid of dump tree. That was the one that we almost missed. Hash table print stats. What the fuck? How am I am I blind? Like what? Hash table print stats, print tree, that's gone. Show tree, there's no lowercase ones, so we got them all. Okay, that looks good now. Hopefully this succeeds. I've basically been trying to build this for the last 2 hours or so. It keeps failing. I could argue that, but I'm not interested in having that argument. That's all good. Just having fun with another Python dev. Yeah, I don't want to get in an argument. It's all good. You do you. I'm not gonna tell you not to do it. I'm not gonna do it myself. Is my basic stance there. So this is something like this. I'm not quite sure what this would be, but we'll run the tests and see what this comes up to. So this is my AST pretty printer that I'm working on here. Unmatched parenthesis. What? I don't know why it gives me a debugger for that, but 373. Yeah, there's just a random parenthesis there. You're not wrong. Syntax error thing. Oh, it's still doing P format, yeah. Things have gone kind of quiet on crypto. Interesting. Hey, what's up? Varma414, thank you for the follow, and welcome to the stream. Did I forget to add? I did forget to add. Could have sworn that I did that. Maybe it was part of the stuff that I undid. Could be that. Nano cool, never stopped for real programming. Yeah, device railway. I'm the one weirdo that's using Nano. It's maybe not the best, but it works for me, and you'll see that I'm pretty proficient in it. It gets the job done. Okay, cool. We got that test passing, so now we can move on to the next one. So we should have 8 failures now. All right, another num constant one. Main hide offsets. Babi test. What are we working on? astpretty. We'll just do x equals y instead of this. So name id equals y, context equals load. And I'm gonna nip this one in the bud and do the same up here. Name id equals y, context equals load. That should fix 2 tests. Should be down to 6. And better Nano than Emacs OS. Yeah, don't say that too loudly, or sarcastic Dante will swoop into the stream and call you out on that. Main hide offsets. Oh. This makes sense. Even in Python 3.8, and we're hiding offsets, we're still going to have the type comment differences. Not sure if it's true or not, but I read somewhere that the electricity used in crypto mining is larger than the total power used in Ireland. Wouldn't surprise me that much. Let's see how much electricity is used by crypto mining. New study quantifies Bitcoin's ludicrous energy consumption. Could consume, that's guessing. Estimates that about 2.6 gigawatts of power. Almost as much electricity as Ireland consumes. Yeah, so I guess that's where you heard that from. Ooh, that would be wild. But it could be, I mean, it might be an overestimation. Device Railway, what am I working on today? So I'm doing a couple of things at once. One, I'm working on building Python 3.9 for Ubuntu. The alpha dropped yesterday, so I'm trying to build it, get some packages out there so people can start testing with it. I'm also working on my text editor, although I think I already finished the feature that I was working on. Let's see if the test pass here. I'm working on my text editor, which Amperature, we're not trying to trigger you. We're not trying to trigger you, I promise. Working on my text editor, which there was like one little tiny micro bug that I wanted to fix, which is like clearing the status when switching between files. So I wrote some tests for that. Oh, something's broken. What are you failing test? Why are you failing? Oh, I know what it is. I already know what it is. It's the tests that do negative numbers for line offsets. And it's gonna be a crash somewhere. Oh wait, what? Test control up causing cursor movement should fix X. How are you failing? It even shows here that it got to the steady state. Maybe it's just a race condition. It might just be a race condition. Although, that it timed out. But we see it missing here. Like, what gives? Oh. Oh, this is so dumb. The number 3 appears in the temporary directory name. That's annoying. I'll leave it at saying the fact is true, strictly speaking, but it doesn't paint the whole picture. Yeah, that's fair. Python compiling ASMR. Yeah. It's just me tapping away on my keyboard. You guys listening to me. Just gonna have a sensual Python experience here. My chair squeaking. This ruins the immersion. I did buy WD-40 at the beginning of the stream, so in theory, if I remember to grease up my chair, it'll be better next time. We'll see. I'm assuming the figures are tainted somehow to sensationalize the article. That wouldn't surprise me also. Only 4 million bitcoins to mine left. I thought there were fewer than that left. Oh. Yeah, this test is funny. I'm gonna copy this and we'll fix this after that. We get 2 commit messages here. Actually, we can just commit and then fix that test. Git commit. While I was working with PyUpgrade and other linter projects, I wrote this pretty printing AST script. I wasn't aware that you had already done that. Yeah. Yep. I actually wrote this while I was working on PyUpgrade, because ast.dump from the standard lib, which they improved in 3.8 or 3.9 or whatever, was just like not super useful. But yeah, that's why I made that. Clear status when switching / exiting multiple files. Actually resolve a GitHub issue from this. Resolves 26. Well, we're building the docs again, so in theory we're getting close. Okay, which test was this? Was the... Let me just search for this string. Except you can't search for that string because all of these backslashes need to be backslashed. And do we have more than one test that does this? We do. That's why we put the little string line in front of it, and then we can do that. That'll make these tests not flaky anymore. Try that again. Escapes your escapes, which also need to be escaped. Yes, we must go derper. We will escape forever. Yeah. If you want to see some like extreme escapes, not there. I have this very, very ridiculous escaped sequence in my bash aliases, and that's purely so I can type cry and it'll print a sad face, but I can do cry -- softly and it'll still just print a sad face. So what I needed was a subshell. Well, first I needed echo, so we need to echo sad face. So that's what we start with. But then I need a subshell, and inside single quotes, double quotes are fine, but single quotes are not. So we have to single quote, or we have to double quote. No, wait. Single quote to end the single quotes, then a double quote to start, then a double quote, then a single quote. Oh, right. No. That should be right. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, we need another single quote here. Okay, so then you have that. So this is the like second version of the escape. And then in order to put in an alias, you have to quote it again. So you have to like x equals single quote, and then any single quote you have to change into single, double, double, single. Single, double, double, single. Single, double, double, single. Single, double, double, single. And single, double, double, single, single. And then that's how you get that alias. Eval $x. So it's a little bit wild, but that's how you get to this absurd level of escape sequences in this case. Sukulatum says, but I made it simple. Parse the AST, black the code, and pigmentize it. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, so black would just black would do the indenting for you, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I actually wrote like a little state machine in mine, I think. Or it's recursive. Recursive, or is it a state machine? It is recursive. Oh, jump to definition. Why is it so slow? Oh, there's a bug here. Clicking on this does nothing. It also doesn't hide the thing. Oh, it doesn't hide the thing. Maybe that's a feature. I don't know. GitHub, why you do this? But anyway. Did the test pass? I missed it. Okay, they did pass. Fix test failures when colliding with temp directory name. python3.9 from random import sample. Why did I end up in git commit? Oh, right, because I had a space at the beginning. You want print, right? Tails. Chosen by a fair flip of the coin. Yeah, in one of the IRC channels that I hang out in, we have this bot where you can do like create roll 60 20s, and it'll roll a dice for you and add them up. So you can see like how lucky you are. Control up? Yeah. Oh, pretty average there. But anyway, it seems similar to this. That's why I pointed it out. Okay, we're gonna push this. That should auto-resolve one of the issues. This one should get magically fixed. Cool. I'm on a bunch of different servers. This one is ex-Yelpers. This one is the OCF server, which is the computing facility for Berkeley. I didn't go to Berkeley, but I have some friends there, so hang out in their chat pretty often. And then this is just Freenode, where I usually hang out in the PyTest channel. There's a pre-commit channel, but honestly, we've mostly switched to Discord for talking about that, or Stack Overflow. And then there's one for code quality, which is like Flake8 and PyFlakes and stuff. That's Freenode also. Those are the channels I hang out in. Not that many, but still do IRC. What is my client? It's Pigeon. I use Pigeon. It works well for me, so why change? Oh, but you should use URSI or Textual or whatever else. I'm like, nah, I got something that works. I'm not gonna change it. What was this tab? Oh, Blake 2 stuff. Oh, no. Oh, it passed. Okay, we're good. I saw this output and I was like, no, not again. Oh, it's at the final stages. I think it's working. Oh, you're a Hex chat person, I see. Grim would be proud. Yes, Grim would be proud. Although I used Pigeon before I knew Grim. I've used Pigeon for years. I think I started using it because it was like the best one that existed at the time, and it probably no longer is, but works. Your Grim stickers got here yesterday. I managed to get Pigeon to accept theming finally. Oh, nice. I didn't know he gave out stickers. That's awesome. Is that like a sub what is the thing I'm looking for? Incentive? Or something like that? The protocol got all proprietary and breaky since. Oh, the IRC protocol or the other protocols? V3 seems pretty weird. What are you doing, computer? What are you doing? Okay, so succeeded. But I built it just for Xenia, so let's see. Let's run some of the tests and see if it's actually functional. Ubuntu, let's see, actually, -v pwd dist ro Ubuntu Xenia bash. Install gdebi core. Gdebi is a little Python script that kind of pretends to be apt and allows you to install .deb packages. Normally you would use apt-get, but you kind of need like an apt server setup for that, and I don't know. I know how to use this tool, and I don't know how to use the apt server tools, so this is my workaround here. Why is Pigeon so awesome and it didn't come up when I googled best IRC client? Excuse my simple googling queries. I don't know that it's the best, but it's pretty good. It's good enough. It's the one that I use. Let's see, IRC client. XChat is first, MIRC. Oh, it's not even, that's pretty sad. It's not even on the first page. I'm up for Windows. No? No? What about Linux? I bet it comes up for Linux. These are all just top 10 lists. IRC and HexChat. Oh no. 7 best. WeChat. Pigeon. Hey, there we go. Number 2 there. This is a really old version of Pigeon, though. How old is this article? 2016. Oh. Okay, so now I have this quick test script. I'm only using this because it shows me the install order. gw-n dist libpython3.9 minimal. Okay, that worked. 3.9 standard lib. Installed some other stuff. We installed libffi, okay. And then libpython. And then I think we can just go to Python after that. What the fuck is going on? Go. Theory that should install. Oh, I forgot to install dash minimal. Right, that's right here. I can't follow my own directions apparently. Okay, so this should work now, and then I should have a functioning 3.9. This was the thing that I wasn't so sure about working. These are the two. This was like one of the functions that got deleted, but it seems to work. IO module works. Those modules work. Cool. I think it's functional. It looks fine. I'm actually kind of surprised that it works. Amperature says, "All right, Anthony, enjoying your night. I'm rolling out. Well, thanks for stopping by and thank you for the raid. Hope to see you around in the future. I'll check out your stream. Actually, I'm just gonna follow you. That's gonna be the easiest way to do this. That way, I'll get notified when you go online. Check out your stuff. The follow. Nice. But yeah, thank you again for stopping by. Raylon Master says, I just pushed the first release for my first open source project. My wife is like, why are you devoting all this time to it? Lol. Oh, I know that feel. Man. Between open source and Pokemon, I think that's why my last girlfriend left me. Cries in Python. Yikes. Okay, but I think this is good to go. And I'll do the same thing for Bionic next, I guess. Print cries, yeah. This is why we have this alias. Cry -- ugly sob. It was the red thing up here. Pristine tar does not support verify. Okay, yeah, whatever. Turn off the mic for my GPG password. And the reason I do that, I'm a little paranoid, maybe a little too paranoid, but there was this like study that was done at Berkeley that showed that if you collected some amount of key presses on a keyboard and like recorded audio anomalies from that, even with low quality audio, you could pretty accurately detect which keys were being pressed on a keyboard. And so in theory, like somebody could scrape my audio, and then if my mic was on while I typed my password, they could figure out my password. So I do it because I'm a little bit paranoid. I don't know if it's a healthy amount of paranoia, but it's something. You got my password from facial expressions. Yeah, damn, got me. Wrecked. Oh, I'm back up to 13 subscribers, so somebody resubbed, but I didn't get a notification for it. Dang it, Twitch, why are you so useless? I'm gonna assume it was Ethan, though. That's gonna be my guess. But Twitch isn't telling me. Damn you, Twitch. I know, but my bot resubbed today. Because I get a receipt every time it happens. Okay, cool. So, we're going to... I think the code is going to be exactly the same for Bionic from this point downwards. So I'm just going to check out from there, and that way I don't have to do all that work again. And then I'll just make a changelog. dch-v Bionic 1. Change this to a 9. And this to Bionic. Python 3.9.0. Release alpha 1. Oh, no, alpha 1 release. Grammars. Finish changelog for this. And then we'll run this build one more time. But this build should just work, because we already validated it on Xenia, so this will just be the validation for Bionic. And it should start building on PPA page. We should see 3.9 starting to build. Where's the... Am I not logged in? No, I'm logged in. Oh, I hate this interface. View package details? Is this how I get to builds? View all builds. Currently building. Yeah, here we go. Should be getting MD64. Cool, so it's started the build. Hasn't really done anything yet, but it's starting. It's going. It's doing its thing. Close some tabs. Okay, 8 test failures. We'll get there eventually. Expected 3.8. So in 3.8 we should see type ignores equals an empty list, and this one we should see type comment equals none, I think. These tests are kind of a pain, unfortunately. Oh, this one I had already split up, but I hadn't actually finished it. Type ignores equals empty list. Type comments equals none, or type comment equals none. But we have to do this end line number equals 1 and call offset equals 1. Theory that. So hopefully we have 6 failing tests now. 7. Dang it. Oh, I forgot these lines here. Having a hard time seeing what's different here. Is it indented wrong? Like, what the hell's going on here? The indentation is different? That seems not right. I think PyTest is pulling my leg here. Something seems wrong. This looks exactly the same as this. I don't know what's going on here, but I do need to add these. What is that test called? Test main with offsets. Oh, it should be 5. Did I like paste a tab character in there? I don't even... I don't know what's going on there. I must have typed a tab character. So let's reorder these. So the 3.8 ones are first. There must be a tab in this line somehow. Just re-indent both these lines and maybe it'll just fix it. Shrink this window again. No, it's still failing. What the fuck is happening? Test main with offsets. I added this to the wrong test. That would be part of it. Can't you search for a tab character? Yeah. There are no tab characters. Oh wait, that's T. There are no tab characters. So I don't know what it is then. Okay, now we're done to 6 failure. Okay, PyTest was just pulling my leg. There was something about that diff was just messed up, I guess. P format nested node without line information. We need to add stuff for the name. 3.8 first. We're gonna change the number to not be a number. Because I know this is gonna be easier. Although, I'm already differentiating by 3.8 and not, so maybe we'll just leave it as a number. Four, I think. All right, 5 failing tests, maybe? Nope, still 6. Oh, because I started changing this and I shouldn't have. Oh no, I changed this and I shouldn't have. I know I changed something. But yeah, you're right, Shachi. I can search for tabs. Just didn't think to. Find equals none. What changed about... Oh, that's the constant. I don't actually know what the kind does there. Look that up. We're gonna learn something here. String kind. Optional string kind, so it can be none, and most of the time it seems to be none. I wish there was like an explainer about why that thing exists and what does it mean. Alright, 5 failing tests? Hey, there we go. That one we can just change the numbers to be variables. Name equals A, context equals load. Do the same down here. Four failing tests? 3 failing tests? I fixed 2 at once. If... Change this to if. SP format, nested adder, empty list. Oh, because the or else is an empty list. So we can just give it the treatment. What do we end at? 5? Something like that. Oh, right. Oh, that's annoying. I forgot about that. That is quite annoying. What did I forget here? Oh. I edited the wrong one. 1 failing test? No, still 2. End call offset equals 1. It should be 2. Oh, that's a bug. That looks like a bug. Yeah, it says that this name ends at... oh wait, no, I have a bug. Okay, we're good. Everything's fine. It's my typo, not Python typo. We need type comments on... Which actually, we do have something with offsets and not, so we can actually get rid of this test. And then they should all pass, hopefully. And coverage passes. Okay, do the old versions of Python pass? Oh, also our build finished, so we can try Ionic now. Did I do that in a different tab? Oh, there we go. Retrieve my tab complete one way or another. Two failures. Oh. there's a extra new line in the expected output. Excuse me, what? Why is there an extra new line? Alright, let me fix this one first. This one's easy. Hey, what's up, Fast Cash Coding? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Hope your day's going well, or night, or morning, or whatever time it is for you. I gotta figure out what's up with this test, though. No. Easy fix. Easy peasy. Oh, this color changed too. Why? Oh, why does PyTest have to change things? I was not involved in that change, so I don't know what's up with that. Oh no, there's missing coverage in Python 2 on line 49. Oh. Because this race is an exception, so this line never runs. So, we need to combine the lines in some way. In order to trick coverage. Purely to trick coverage. Like the last assertion needs to be one line, somehow. My chair is so squeaky. Ugh. It's gonna look ugly, but whatever. I can't think of a better way to do this than this hideous monstrosity. Oh, I hate it. I hate everything about it. Why is it so bad? No, I don't want to do that. Ah, perfect. Exactly in our 80 characters. Oh, these are too long though. Oh wait, but this doesn't have a trailing new line. That's why I had that other style. Yes. Okay, makes sense. These are linter overlords. Oh wait, it's me. Okay, hopefully touch pass now. 7's passing. 3-7 is passing. 3-8 is not passing. Oh, because I modified the middle of a string. There, I meant to put that here. Not here. 2737. What? I did it again here? Yes, I did indeed. I did it twice here, in fact. Seven, 37. Hey, there we go. Type comments python3.9. Show type comments in AST and Python 3.8 plus. We'll multitask. I forgot that I was testing my packages over here. We'll get both those things going at the same time. The music's super quiet again. Oh, maybe we're just between songs. I don't know, we'll find out. It's gonna get loud again. Oh no. I just got a bunch of emails from Launchpad that i386 failed to build and RMHF failed to build. So I'll have to fix that. But we got this thing working. Oh my god, it's almost 10 o'clock. I've been streaming for 4 hours. Okay, we're gonna fix some builds and then we're gonna call it a day. Show type comments in AST for Python 3.8 plus. Get this. Add the actual. Draw the fucking owl. Update CI. And then chop up the tests, basically. Okay, looks good. Self-ship it. This script. Minimal. There is no member named control. What? What am I missing? XZutils? Try that. Yeah, it seemed to have been it. Oh, control arrow key doesn't work. Broken read line. Standard lib is next. That should install. Oh, I guess we already had FFI. And libpython. Then Python minimal. And Python. And then we'll go fix the other builds. And I can actually fix the Bionic build before I push it too. python3.9 -c import cmath and SSL. Just make sure those modules work. Import distutils. Make sure this is a thing. Oops, I typoed double under file. That's a good thing. That works. And make sure version works. Cool. Okay, so I think that Python is functional. Let's look at the build failures that I had. And we can merge that later. Failed to build. Sad packages. I don't know why, but it always does this signature verify error thing, but it still seems to work. So I don't know what's up with that. This one, get... rebase on this one. So this should have gotten rid of those 3 symbols at the bottom, and it looks like it did, so that's good. I don't know why we have stuff in here for herd. But when we do, it's there. Hey, what's up? MW Pi Java Coder 1. Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. Pi Java Coder. And I hope you're not using Python because no one should be using Python. Python is mostly sadness. But yeah, I should be able to release this now. I'll type my password one more time. But that should be a successful Python 3.9 package. I'll probably work on the nightlies some other time, because I kind of want to go to sleep now. But at least we'll be able to get Alpha 1 out the door tonight, and we can get nightlies some other day. That password's a little bit shorter. You were saying you have experience in both languages. Nice. Oh no, I'm dropping frames. Why are we dropping frames? Computer, what are you doing? I should have plenty of bandwidth to upload a little file and stream at the same time. I guess it was only 84 drop frames. That's not so bad. Probably lost like 1 second of video. It's not like, a couple months ago my internet was just like completely awful and I was dropping like 10% of frames, and so it was basically unusable. But at least I was still able to like upload stuff to YouTube and still had that going for me, but it was real frustrating. But anyway, I think that's, I guess I'll answer a question first. Bad Zoxus says, how to make a robot with Python, like a physical robot or like a chat bot, or like what are you asking? Because like there's actually a bot in the channel right now that responds to some commands. You can see the code for it if you click on this second GitHub link. It's the Twitch chat bot, but I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there. Tabs, push this right. We should have builds going. You're from Arkansas. Anyone else? Well, I'm from California. I originally grew up in Michigan, but not from Arkansas. Well, at least I'm not. I was born in Ohio. What a terrifying icon there. Oh, was Chris in the stream? I think I saw Chris in the stream earlier. Oh, I said Chris VW, but it was Chris WW. I see. Thanks for, see, I read my GitHub timeline. Like a weirdo. A robot like Jarvis, You could probably make something like that happen. It's pretty hard to get like all of the stuff that Jarvis does, because it's a bit what is the word? Exaggerated, or like it's a movie. They have a bit of creative freedom to do some stuff that we can't necessarily do in real life. But you could do something with like, I don't know, get some like text to or speech to text libraries, which are pretty hard. Like, honestly, speech recognition is one of the hardest problems in computer science, and like we're not very good at it. But you could plug into some of the open source stuff, build some or train some models around your voice, and like start automating tasks with like IoT devices. Like, that'd be how I would approach it. But probably pretty hard. But anyway, I'm gonna wind down, wrap up the stream for today because I gotta go to bed because I have an early morning tomorrow. But let me do my normal spiel. If you liked what you saw, leave a follow, like, comment, and subscribe. But if you missed any part of the stream or want to catch previous streams that I've worked on, I upload them to YouTube after the fact, which is at youtube.com/AnthonyWritesCode, which is the same as my Twitch handle. I normally stream on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Today was kind of just a weird stream where I was like, I want to do this thing, so I'm going to sit down and write some code. But I normally stream at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and I usually announce that on Twitter. My Twitter is twitter.com/codewithanthony, where usually I post something that's like, I'll be streaming in an hour, this is what I'm going to work on. So if you want to get notified, that's one way to get notified. Another way to get notified is on the Discord. So we have a Discord server for the chat and stuff, and we usually talk about like programming stuff. There's some memes that get posted. I also announce streams there and do some other debugging and developing stuff there. But yeah, that's kind of the dealio there. But yeah, thank you all for stopping by, and I'm gonna go find someone to raid.